All right, both campaigns are putting the focus on Pennsylvania. Today, Donald Trump is set to stump in Biden's hometown of Scranton, while the Harris campaign calls former President Obama to host a rally in Pittsburgh tomorrow. But a new report finds working-class voters in deep blue Philadelphia blame Democrats for rising prices and are now shifting towards Republicans. Pennsylvania natives Rich Cupka, Noreen Johnson, and Jahmiel Jackson all join me now. Good morning to you all. So, Rich, there was this really interesting article in the Philadelphia Inquirer that I just quoted from, and it shows that Democrats have been losing voters in the state since 2020, and it all comes down to the economy. They report that the more impoverished a Philadelphia precinct, the more Republicans it has gotten. Does that align with what you're seeing in the state?
Yes, it does. I mean, we're suffering from liberal myopia. They can't see the crime. They can't see the vacancies in the buildings. They can't see the crumbling infrastructure. And downtown Pittsburgh, we have the largest homeless encampment in the tri-state area.
Wow. So it's a quality of life, it's the economy, it's several issues. So, Noreen, Donald Trump, he's going to be in Pennsylvania today, but over the weekend he was in Butler for a second time. Do you think him going back to Butler impacts the race in any way? How are you viewing things right now when it comes to November?
Well, first of all, they say there was 100,000 people there over the weekend. That alone, I think, speaks volumes. And Butler's attempted assassination, I think, really changed the landscape, not only in Pennsylvania, but across the nation. To see a former president be nearly killed by a hair, I think woke a lot of people up, even people that don't care for Donald Trump. That affected them, and that may or may not have swayed their vote. But just in general, the landscape right now is very, very, we have one choice, and that is November 5th. It comes down to voters seeing the stark difference between the two candidates. We are where we are with our candidates. It is crunch time, but at the same time, people are hurting. People are hurting all over the country. And while Kamala is busy with her last-minute interviews and not answering questions and word salads, people are suffering, dying all over the country, and we have to make a change. And there's only one change, and that is Donald Trump on November 5th.
So it sounds like you're voting for Trump. Okay, so Jahmiel, you're a registered Democrat, and as Noreen was saying, it is crunch time, and that's why Kamala Harris is doing this media tour right now. She hit up Stephen Colbert's show, The View. She was on with Howard Stern yesterday. The goal is to energize the base and young voters, but at the same time, there is this storm that is impacting southern states. So some folks are saying that there's just a juxtaposition there that might work against her. How do you view this media tour? Do you think it's the right thing to do or maybe the wrong time? What are your thoughts?
I think for many Philadelphians, our culture is to be tough on the Eagles, to be tough on the 76ers, and even the Phillies. So if we're tough on each other, we're tough on our sports. Why wouldn't we be tough on our next presidential candidate? I think when we see her, what we're really missing from her is a really hard interview where she's being grilled, where she's being fact-checked, and her feet is being held to the fire because Donald Trump has been doing this for 8 years. But even when he's been running now, it's been 2 years, he hasn't been scared of a single interview. So I think when we see her keep dodging on very important issues, then she doesn't represent Philadelphia at all. And I also look at, let's say, for example, with the economy that's looming over her, she keeps saying that we aren't going back. That's one of her main catchline phrases that so many young people are saying as well. But when I talk to many people in Philadelphia, when I'm doing street interviews, when I'm talking to my friends and families and their friends, they're always saying, well, we do want to go back to lower priced groceries, to a more stable world where there aren't as many embassy evacuations or there aren't as many foreign wars, a more stable country, for example. So a lot of us do want to go back to the 2019 amazing economy where gas prices were lower as well. So I think that's the struggle she's having. That there's a stark discrepancy between the actual culture and what's top of mind for Philadelphians.
Yeah, it's all about the issues. There's also an important Senate race in the state, Dave McCormick, Bob Casey. So I'm sure there's no shortage of political ads that you're viewing on your TVs every single day until November. Rich, Noreen, Jahmiel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.